In the process of my career, I grew into a producer, and I've been producing for many, many, many years. Producers don't think like bass players. Producers don't think like instrumentalists. When you're a bass player or a sax player or guitar player, it doesn't matter what you do, you focus on your role, your job, and you're very myopic, especially in jazz. I know a lot of guys, they don't care what their records sound like. It could be the worst sonic recording in the world. There could be buzz, there could be noise, they don't care. Man, did you check it out? I made that chord change. You know, all they care about is they're playing over changes, you know, their solo. Listen how great I sound. It's blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but your record sounds terrible. They don't think like producers, they think like their world. So over years of just learning how to produce and working with great people, I've been fortunate to work with people like David Foster and Quincy Jones and people like that. You know, when you work with people that this is what they do, you learn how to hear things and do things differently. If you really listen to my records, my bass parts, 99% of the time, are pretty simple. You know, I play bass for the music, you know, and then when I do my solos, I might do some crazy stuff. But I really try to play for the music because it's the music first. You know, you're a person first, musician second, bass player third. That has to be the order because these are all gorgeous instruments, but what makes them make music? It's the person, you know? I mean, my bass would be a nice piece of firewood, but it's the human that makes the music on it. And it's what comes out of your instrument, it's the humanity of what comes out of your instrument is what sings. That's why, you know, 50 different sax players can play exactly the same thing, but nobody sounds like John Coltrane or nobody sounds like Cannonball Adderley. Everybody has their sound. Nobody sounds like Jocko. It's the humanity. A million people have a Fender bass. Do they sound like Jocko? No. He could pick up a suitcase and make it sound great. I mean, he played all my basses. It sounded like Jocko. It didn't sound like me. You learn how to produce. When you learn how to produce, you do what's right for the music. And what's right for the music is the mix, knowing what to do where and why. So I spent a lot of time on my records making sure that, you know, again, in production, it's the big picture. It's not this, it's everything. So I make sure on my records that my records sound good because I want the whole experience of the music to be great, not just, you know, the bass playing or the sax solo or whatever. So you hear the bass because it's right in the mix. And if you listen to it on an iPod or you listen to it on a laptop speaker or you listen to it on a huge system, you can hear the bass. You know, I tell you, you put the music on your cell phone and you put it on the table and you stand 10 feet away and listen to it. How many records can you do that and hear the bass? The challenge is to be able to hear the bass on your phone on a table and put it on a rig and have the bass not be too loud. That's the challenge. Again, you're dealing with an instrument that's putting out frequencies that a speaker the size of an eraser isn't going to put out. I'm sorry, an iPhone speaker is not going to put out 30 cycles of a B string. So there's a challenge in trying to mix your records so you hear the bass and it's got identity, but it's not overwhelming the music. That's not easy to do, and that's something that I pride myself on with my records, that you hear everything.